Coming up a little bit later on this morning, are we raising a generation of children addicted to phones, tablets and computer games? If I show you this...
This is going to shock Bear Grylls.
This is the iPoo.
That's not its name.
That's what I've christened it. A potty that you can put a tablet into to keep your child entertained. Do you think it's got instructions on how to use the potty? Is that why it's there? I have absolutely no idea.
You see, I find this terrifying, actually, that someone has thought that people will buy this and get their children to use it.
Yeah.
Would anyone get get that for their child?
Saves me having to go to the toilet later on, though, doesn't it?
OK, Sean. Are parents using technology as too easy a way to keep children occupied? A teacher who spoke anonymously to our correspondent Jonathan Swain said it was having a noticeable impact on her 7-year-old pupils. Let's have a look at this.
They can be very aggressive. They would come in exhausted, dark eyes, very tired. They just really have their heads down the table and just generally unmotivated.
Well, let us know what you think about that this morning. Are children using tablets and screens too young? Get in touch on Facebook, Twitter or by email. We're going to talk to a family a little bit later on who did a detox, like a 24-hour
detox.
Digital detox.
How
no
did
screens.
they fare?
Very, very interesting stuff.
I think they went out climbing trees.
Tablets and smartphones are an easy way to keep your children entertained, aren't they? But would you be as quick to use them if they were causing serious problems for your children's development?
A primary school teacher has told us she can't teach her pupils because of their addiction to technology. And our survey found that 3/4 of parents are worried as well, which makes you wonder who this would appeal to. This is a potty
other than
with...
Sean.
You guessed it, a built-in tablet holder, so your little one can play games on the iPad while they're sitting on the potty.
iPlop.
It's a great name for it. I'm not sure it's the real name for it
now.
Jonathan Swain has been investigating more for us.
The Tiny Tots tech revolution has arrived, and companies have spotted a gap in the market, as you can see from the latest products that are now available.
Go on the potty, and you can play with the iPad.
Kids can blog while they go, tweet while they eat, and even surf while they stroll. And they do it because they can. 2/5 of babies under 2 can now use tablets and smartphones. These products are marketed as everything you need for digital babies on the go. But is it all getting a little too much?
My son's nearly 4. He's always playing on the iPad or the iPhone.
The technology in the house, Xboxes and PlayStations, they're not doing enough outside.
It does concern me that they're losing social skills.
One teacher is so worried about the effects technology is having on our children that she wants to speak out. We've decided, though, not to identify her.
I think certainly the tablet or the computers have really become sort of the babysitting tool that a lot of parents use. The games that the children also come in and talk about, particularly 18 games. I think parents are very unaware really of the effect that these are actually having on the children. They begin to think that the language that's used on the games and on the internet is the norm, so they're maybe shouting back, they're answering back, they can be very aggressive. You know that they've been either up gaming the night beforehand or on social media. They come in exhausted, dark eyes, very tired. They just really have their heads down the table and just generally unmotivated. As a teacher, that's incredibly challenging.
This is Britain's only rehab centre to treat young people for technology addiction.
There may be up to 45,000 children in the country that would meet the criteria for technology addiction. I think you would know if your child is becoming addicted to a device if you start to feel that the device has more influence over their behaviour than you do.
Jonathan Swain reporting. I didn't even know that there was a treatment for children's addiction to technology.
Yeah. Well, look, we don't have any guidelines in this country for this sort of thing, but the Canadian and American technology recommendations may surprise you. They suggest that up to the age of 3, children should have no access to screens at all, including the TV. From 3, they should be allowed an hour of TV a day, but still no tablets or smartphones.
That increases to 2 hours of TV from the age of 6, and only when they reach teenage years should they be allowed access to a tablet.
Joining us now from Seattle is child development expert Chris Rowan, who wrote those guidelines. Good morning to you, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Chris, we've had all sorts of responses you can imagine from our viewers today. Michelle Parry says, my 9-year-old was given an iPad mini from school for her schoolwork. Even their music lessons are done through the iPad. His handwriting is definitely suffered, but it's an important part of their educational process.
Well, I've been a pediatric therapist for 25 years now. In this last decade, I've seen a significant decline in child development, child behavior, and their ability to pay attention and learn. We now have 1 in 3 kids entering school developmentally delayed, 1 in 6 have a diagnosed mental illness, 1 in 4 are obese or overweight, and now it's estimated 1 in 11 have an actual addiction to technology. So the ways in which we're raising and educating our kids are just not sustainable. Children really need...
Yeah, excuse me, Chris, for interrupting. There's a slight delay on the line, but how much of that do you think is down to using screens and computers?
A lot, and that's what the research is showing, is what the statistics I just stated are causally related to technology overuse. So in order to understand the impact on children and their brain and body development, it's important to understand there's 4 critical factors for the developing child. Children need to move, they need to touch and be touched, they need to connect with other humans, and they need to be exposed to nature. And when they get all of that, then they grow up healthy and they can succeed in school. But we have kids using, on average, 8 hours a day of tech, and that's just way too much. It's really changing the ways in which their brain's developing and not in a good way.
We have Angela McFarlane in one of our newspapers this morning, Chris, who is going to become the Chief Executive of the College of Teachers next month, has said in this article, computer games can be a pure delight and that many of them require deep learning to master the games, and with structured and supervised use of this technology, actually it can be hugely beneficial to children.
Well, I challenge that. I don't know if that's a research study, but to my knowledge, there isn't any research that is showing that these devices do anything more than entertain kids. And what we're actually seeing in the brain and the way the brain is developing is a pruning of the tracks to the frontal lobes. Now, we know the frontal lobes are really important for paying attention and learning, impulse control, executive functioning. And so with kids who overuse, we're actually seeing an atrophy in the frontal lobes. So it's very difficult to understand how people can be saying these things or teaching our children.
All right, Chris Rowan, thanks very much indeed. Chris is one of those who wrote the US and Canadian guidelines